Carlo Monaco with Gavin Griffin. Gavin, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
I figured you would be here, seeing as you won this event last year. What's it like to be back?
Well, I mean, it's Monte Carlo, so it's beautiful. The weather's not quite as nice this year, but you know, the venue's incredible. The room that you play in for this tournament is unlike any other poker room, and you know, PokerStars really does a great job of treating the players
Taking
well,
care of everyone.
and you know, they've got the players lounge this year with a Wii and a PlayStation 3 and internet connection and all that stuff. So it's incredibly, it's even better than last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, take me through the tournament last year. Take me through the stages up to the win.
Well, the first day wasn't really all that great for me. I kind of, you know, we started with 15,000 chips. I ended the day with like 21,000 or something like that. So I improved on my starting stack, but it was really a brutal day because I would, you know, start making some headway, and I'd get to like 25, 26,000, and then go back down to 10,000, and then I'd get back up to 25,000, and then go back to 10,000. And you know, I kept telling Kristen, my girlfriend, that this just isn't going to be my tournament. It's just, you know,
just felt like things weren't going your way
really
on day
badly.
one.
Yeah. So then on day two, one of the first hands of the day, this like really crazy Swedish guy makes a raise, and he'd already, like, he started with like, say, 80,000 chips or something like that.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was, you know, this was maybe 6 hands into the day, and he's already down to like 40,000, right?
Wow.
So he raises, and someone else calls, and I call with the king, queen of clubs, and I flop with flush, and he and I get all in, and he had the ace of clubs, and I faded that,
and he
missed.
Then
yeah, I kind of, from there on out, I started climbing, got up to like 250,000 at one point, and lost a really big pot to Philip Hilm, who actually ended up going pretty deep in the tournament. I think he finished like 11th or something like that.
I was about to say 11th, so
yeah.
That must be it.
And then...
Were you familiar with the European players at that time?
Some of them, you know, I mean, you know, the more well-known European players, but, you know, this is my first EPT event, so I didn't really...
You didn't know what to expect.
Really, right, and I hadn't really seen like some of the more like
obscure European players.
Yeah, like the people who weren't as well known from the European circuit. You know, I knew guys like Ram Vaswani or you know.
I understand. But.
So it was a little bit of an adjustment. The play style is slightly different here. You know, you have people who play a similar style to kind of the, you know, the Scandies in the U.S., but you don't really have as many of them as you do here.
Understandably.
Right, obviously. So it was a little bit of an adjustment, but you know, overall, you know, a poker tournament's a poker tournament. So.
Okay. So after the hand with Philip Hilm, how did it go from there? Well, obviously it went well, but...
Well, yeah, so actually, at one point I was up like 250,000 on day two, and I kind of dropped back down to like 120,000 after that hand, and that's where I ended the day. And then on day three, which was kind of like the money bubble day, I went, that's where I started to really pick it up. Like right outside the money, I won a big pot where I made a flush, and then from there on out, I just kind of like built and got up to near the chip lead going into day four, and then day four is I picked up the chip lead. Andy Black went into the day with the chip lead, and then he kind of faltered and came back, kind of like I did a few times throughout the tournament. But the other thing that was kind of a theme for the week for me is I was really sick.
Oh, really?
I felt terrible the whole week. I could like barely breathe because I was just you know, I mean, just from all the traveling and whatever, and I just had a cold, and I couldn't like it. I don't know if it helped me a little bit because it made me really concentrate and really get myself to focus on what was going on, because if I lost concentration for just a little bit, I was going to be done because
You'd rather go to bed.
I was so miserable. So, you know, I kind of battled through that and worked my way through a really tough final table.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the final table. Did you go in anticipating a win?
Well, of course. You know, I was a chip leader going in, so you know, I felt like I had a really good shot to win. Mark Karam was right behind me, and he had finished fourth the year before. So it was pretty impressive. You know, a fourth and a second in consecutive years in a tournament like this is really, really impressive. But you know, things just kind of like, they went well for a little while, and then, as was my custom for the entire tournament, kind of went, you know, a little bit poorly when we got like four-handed. So after I'd been kind of re-raised like 5 times in a row, the dealer exposed one of my cards, and I then got queens, which was like kind of a nice beat for me.
Definitely.
Bad beat for Soren Kongsgaard, because I raised and he re-raised, and I kind of, you know, acted a little bit like I was frustrated, and, you know, moved all in, and he had 2 jacks, which was really just a ridiculous beat.
Yeah, four-handed.
Four-handed plus, you know, the misdeal. And I mean, obviously it happens to everybody, but, you know, it's just kind of
things were going your way.
Yeah, things were going my way for sure at that point. And so from there on in, I just kind of never really lost my edge. You know, everything kind of fell into place from there. So
going into heads-up play, what was going through your head?
You know, same thing as
Same
always
thing.
going through my head. You know, I was just trying to win. Mark was kind of like, once we started playing heads up, I was making a lot of like small raises pre-flop or limping pre-flop, and
Because you had so much play left.
yeah,
right?
we were both 100 big blinds deep, and you know, I like playing after the flop
Yeah,
a
that's
lot better
always
than
nice
pre-flop.
to have that
So,
chance at a final
yeah.
table or heads up.
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, it was such a great structure, and even like, you know, they printed a great structure. Then as we're going along, they're like, well, let's just add a level here.
Really?
You know, like, I mean,
That's unique.
The tournament director, the people who run the tournament here, Thomas and his staff are just one of the best in the world.
Really?
So, you know, they've really done a great job last year, and I'm sure, you know, this year they'll do a great job like they did then. So, so yeah, we got heads up, and you know, we played a bunch of small pots, and then for some reason, Mark and I got into this like giant pot, him holding top pair 7 kicker and me holding 2 overcards and a straight draw. But it kind of made sense, because I was like, say if I made it 125,000, like 3 or 4 times already, Mark had made it 400,000 and I had folded. So I raised to 125,000 with $25,000 and $50,000 blinds, and he made it 400,000 again, and I called with King 5. The flop came 2-3-4. He bet 500,000.
And you weren't going away.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way I was folding at that point. At least, you know, especially because it's a great flop for me, because if he has like 2 7s, and it's kind of a weird spot for him or whatever, you know. I mean, as it turns out, apparently he would have called with 2 7s since he had the 7-4, but you know, we ended up getting all in on the flop, and I hit the King of Hearts on
The
the
rest
river.
is history. You took down the final you took it down for the Americans.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. I'm sure they weren't really happy about that. You know.
So what was the reaction of the crowd when? Tell me about the moment you won.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know
It was
what
just-
was going on. I just I shook Mark's hand. I went over and hugged Kristen, and that's all I know. I don't know what else happened. Held the trophy up for a little while. That trophy was really heavy, and they made me hold it for like 30 seconds or something like that while they were taking pictures, and I felt like I was going to drop it. But yeah, it was, you know, it's always such a surreal moment after you win a big tournament. So
everything's coming at you at once.
right, you know, like especially that one. You know, in 2004 when I won the bracelet, that was kind of like the beginning of the whole poker surge that year. You know, that was the year after Chris Moneymaker won, and things were really starting to pick up. And so that now there's so much more media coverage, there's so much more everything.
It just keeps increasing.
And you know, like after the World Series, I think I did like 25 minutes of interviews or something like that, right? After Monte Carlo, we finished at, say, like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night, let's say, and I wasn't done until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So...
and we're still bothering you a year later.
Yeah, right, yeah. Well, you know. So we did all the interview stuff and all that kind of, you know, things that come along with it. And just kind of tried to get some sleep before getting on a flight at, like, 7 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Now you're back this year. You're looking for consecutive titles?
Yeah, well, I'm looking to win every tournament I play, so, and I kind of, I know it sounds kind of cocky, but I expect to win every tournament I play.
Well, I think you should if you're going to enter a tournament.
Yeah,
it costs
exactly,
so much.
exactly. So it's, like I said, this place is just the best. PokerStars does a great job of putting on a really nice event, and I've been looking forward to it.
So recently you started answering questions for card player readers. How did you get involved with that?
Justin Marchand kind of contacted me after I talked to Jeff Schulman at a tournament, and he was like, you interested in writing for us? And I've never really considered myself like a really good writer, but I feel like if someone asks me,
like a direct
what do you
question.
think about this situation, I feel like then I can sort of express my ideas a little better. But
if
you say, write me an article, I'm going to sit there and stare at the computer screen for 4 hours and, not really know what to write. So once I'm directed, I feel like I can really
something to go on,
have something valuable to add. So it's been, it's been an interesting experience for me. I'm not used to having, deadlines and stuff like that. So it's, I haven't had a job in 5 years. So it's been interesting. It's been fun. Had some really interesting questions.
What types of questions have you received?
I had a lot of people asking me how to get started in poker. How to build a bankroll, stuff like that. And that's probably not something you want to ask me because I start when I played that World Series event, which was a $3,000 buy-in. I had $12,000 to my name or something ridiculous like that.
So you have some gamble.
A little bit, yeah. But I basically I just try to answer the questions the best I can, and hopefully I understand the question and help the people who ask the questions and who read the answers that I provide, help them to understand where it is I'm coming from on each individual question.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being here today,
All
Gavin.
right, thanks a lot.
If you have a question that you'd like to ask Gavin, you can send an email to gg@cardplayer.com. I'm Lizzie Harrison with Gavin Griffin for Card Player TV.